All right, everybody, welcome to part 3 of the renovation rebuild with the Detroit Lions and head coach Kneecap Jones. We've been building this team up over the course of just 2 off seasons. We've already seen the Lions go from being the worst team in the league to now a back-to-back playoff contender or playoff participant. We won a playoff game, but we have not made it past the divisional round in this series. And in our most recent season, we could tell there was something missing. This team has been built around quarterback Irvin Jameson, and he's been able to do a lot for this team in a very short time. He's the right quarterback, but you still need the pieces around him, and I think that we saw throughout the year that the receiving core is just not cutting it. And we've got to find a way to go get a big difference maker in this upcoming offseason, or it will probably just be a repeat of what went down last year. We have some good young players with development, but Casey Cooks at 27 years old, he's basically capped out as a solid number 2 receiver. We traded for Deontay Johnson, but he didn't fix the issues. And then you have Nathan Fitzgerald, who is younger. He's only 23 years old. But he's not a number 1 receiver right now. And this team needs that number 1 wideout, I think. We have a great running back in Sean McMillan. We have a tight end in TJ Hawkinson, who are both really good. But when you only score, a handful of points in some of those late season games, I'm not sure how else you can look at it other than saying that you need more at receiver. So we'll continue on today, part 3 of 5, going through an off season and a full season. And it's been fun to see the feedback on this in the comment section, because it's kind of an untested style of content for me in a way. I did the Dolphins series back in the fall, and that was pretty fun, but I wasn't sure when it came to the response and interest in it, how much of that was just the novelty of it being something new on the channel. But many of you have really enjoyed the content, and it's a style I want to continue with, and especially here on Madden 20. This is a game I have sunk a lot of time into. It might be my most played game of all time, because I did 10 years of a Broncos franchise and many other things on this game. And I've prepared myself to do even more by downloading these historic rosters while the file share is at least up on Madden 20. And I just like this game for rapid rebuild style content, because these menus are just so clicky and fast on the PS5. They're better than the PS5 Madden menus on 21, 2, and 3. And then, I don't like the scouting system in this game, but there's no denying that for this kind of series, and for the sake of just keeping things a reasonable amount of time, you know what? It fits. So it seems like we're having an off-season here that is really similar to the off-season I just did on my main channel with the Tennessee Titans, where the big story was, what are we going to do at wide receiver? Well, if we decide that we want to attack this need in the draft because free agency may not give us the right player, here we go. Tommy Folk out of Notre Dame. Early first round talent, early first round projection. That's probably going to be out of the question unless we can sort out a major trade up. We pick at 23. Avion Adams, early projection, mid 1 talent. Maybe you expect him to go closer to 10, which is still a little bit out of reach. And DeAndre Allison, early first. So you have these 3, and maybe just because there are 3 receivers, it'll push somebody down a little bit, but I think 23 is not going to land any of these 3. It might get you Stanley Roberts out of UCLA, who has late 1 talent, and he does have an archetype different than deep threat, and I'm hoping to get a different skill set in the offense. So there's a chance that Stanley Roberts ends up being the best we can do unless we find a way to trade up. I have scouted many receivers. There's still more we will scout, and if we find a first round talent here, it's going to be a pretty big deal. It doesn't seem like we're going to get lucky with a 7th rounder who's actually a first round talent. Here's our roster right now with the 2 defensive tackles at the very top of the board. TJ Hawkinson, Taylor Rapp, and then Jay Hanna, We just got Superstar X Factor last episode. Irvin Jamison, Sean McMillan, Ellis Chapman, the really good left guard, and Braden Smith. You know, it's still kind of an older roster. It's taken some time to turn this over. We still have a lot of cap flexibility thanks to Irvin Jamison's rookie contracts, so I don't imagine we'll run into too many issues here. It's just a matter of, are there chances to go get players that we need in free agency? It can be tough to try and get a team over the edge in free agency when there just isn't that signing available. But here is the breakdown of all the regression, and this looks pretty serious. 23 for Ragnow, 16 for Hawkinson. Bellamy drops 31, Taylor Rapp 23. So unfortunately, an old roster is going to possibly create even more needs. I mean, who expects Braden Smith to lose 43 points? That's got to be like a high score. 43 points is just so much. Is he on a multi-year? I think he might be a free agent actually right now. Let's go check on our free agents and see what we got to deal with. Okay. Braden Smith, Ragnow, Lattimore. And when players are in the high 70s, low 80s, it's like, well, I might be able to find somebody else that's a free agent. And I don't want to give out the contracts right now. Yeah, Deontay's down 25 points. So there might be a bit more to do this offseason than I had originally anticipated. But we'll let a lot of these players hit free agency. And actually, I don't think this feels like a lot of cap space. We have like 60. But all of these players about to hit free agency. And, you know, we're going to have to get a starting center and right tackle and all this stuff. I think I'd like to give a contract offer to Ragnow. Because if he ends up being the best center available, I don't want to compete with like 8 other teams when he's a top 5 center. It's just the nature of the XP sliders and stuff. So you got to keep that in mind. So 10 million, we'll get it done. We also had a couple veterans retire. So we are going to be a bit thin at corner as well with Chidobe Awuzie retiring. In that case, we will let Lattimore test, but I think I do want to bring back Solomon Bryson. And you quickly start to see that cap space disappear. Oh, come on. Eli Robertson, I think, would be fine, but we have other good linebackers. It's one of the stronger areas of the team. So we're going to go into free agency needing a handful of starting players. That makes me confident. Well, at least the line isn't too bad. You have Lilia, the young left tackle, then Chapman's going to be back. I mean, Steve O'Sullivan here at right tackle is worst case scenario, but I like to sign a tackle. And then we can focus on getting that wide receiver. Maybe a better running back too, just because RB2 will play, so you might as well get a good one. And then defensively, really like the front four. It's the strength of this team. We don't have to do much there. But now the secondary is looking a bit thin. I might even put Cedric Bellamy on the trade block and see if anybody gives an offer. He's a 77 overall. Well, let's check out free agency. We got 52 mil in cap space, and the best free agent looks to be Quentin Nelson. I think we have to be interested. George Kittle, Hunter Renfrow. So he's going to be the best receiver option for us to target. Only a handful of players here that are in the 80s. At receiver, you can go for Hunter Renfrow. You can go for Cortland Sutton, Darius Slayton. So a lot of teams interested right now in Renfrow on a 3-year, $48 million contract. So over 15 mil a season. But with X Factor, he might not regress too badly. And the route running is very, very good. Number 4 ranked receiver. So obviously, the overalls across the board are just way lower. So if I want to do my 1-year offer, what does that have to look like? 71 points there. I don't think that'll work. All right, we're going back to Solomon Bryson with a multi-year offer, as he has a couple years before he'd be thinking about retirement at least. Looking a little competitive here for Nick Chubb if you want him to be the second running back. We have some interesting options, though, across the offensive line. There is Quentin Nelson at left guard, but you also have some mid-20s tackles that could be signed to multi-year contracts. Taylor Sharpton and Tremont Spence are the best options. Spence is an 82 overall, probably going to stay around that for the rest of his career, but I really like the ratings. Top 5 right tackle as well. Sharpton, meanwhile, looking for a little more money, but a couple weaknesses in the running game. He's a really good pass protector. I think we're going to try and get Spence. He's an 82. We can bump this up closer to 10 per year and probably be in a really good position. 104 right there, first place. Yeah, I definitely want to reconsider here with Eli Robertson. I think with our age at linebacker, we should look to bring him in. And he's got that pass coverage emphasis as well. Really good athlete at the same time. I'll make him a 4-year offer. I want to make a very strong push here. 116. I have to at least try to bring in Quentin Nelson, although I like our guard situation. So if there was something else to do with the money, I think that would be wiser. And then you got to consider, do you try to get Hunter Renfrow? I think that I'd like a 1-year deal, not so much the multi-year contract. But I just don't think it'll work. $19 million is only worth 88 points. I don't know about this. Might want to bring in Marlon Humphrey for a starting corner, as the secondary wasn't looking like it was in a good spot. And if we do offer to him and Quentin Nelson, that would basically be our remaining cap space. Maybe I can get away with a slightly lower offer here. Nobody else is interested. Keep it green, but maybe not go to like 100 points. I think that's a pretty aggressive start to free agency. 5 big offers. We're in first place right now, and maybe I can drop this one for Robertson a little bit, but not too much. I'd like to still be clearly ahead of Pittsburgh. All right, free agency's been interesting in this series. And here we are. After stage 1, we do get Bryson back. Eli Robertson. We're rejected, however, by Quentin Nelson. We do get Spence and Humphrey. So 4 out of 5 is pretty good. And Nelson was really just like, we didn't need him to start. We have a good interior. But obviously he's so good you have to go and try. So Spence will fill in at right tackle, and he's only 26 years old, so very excited about that signing. Offensive line is ready to go for week 1. Just got to go add a couple playmakers on offense. And then defensively, I think you have to give Robertson an advantage over Bellamy this year, and maybe there's a chance for us to make a move, or at least save some salary cap, because Bellamy's been pretty high paid. We'll make a move then, sending Bellamy to Cleveland, where he can be a starting linebacker, and we'll get a 4th-round pick in exchange. And then I wonder if there is a need to at least bring in a receiver in case the draft doesn't go well, or if we just want an extra guy. And Courtland Sutton is the best available right now. All right, I've made a 1-year offer then to Courtland Sutton. We'll see if that works. And we do get Courtland Sutton on the 1-year deal, so that does add to the receiving core, but we're definitely not done. Mark Pagel's 5th-year option. I don't think we're going to pick this one up. He wasn't one of our draft picks. Not one I made. I don't think we need much right now, so we can definitely be as aggressive as we need to try and find that number 1 receiver that we've been lacking. Let's get this draft underway then and start to see if we can find a way up. Tommy Folk is the number 3 player on the board. Avion Adams is 5th, and DeAndre Allison 7. That's not great. Folk ran 4.49, had a really good 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. He's a deep threat. Avion Adams is physical, 6'5", 228 pounds, but he ran 4.44. Mid-1 talent, a lot to like with his skill set. And then DeAndre Allison, 4.37. He's a route runner, medium and short in his top 3. I like the options here at wide receiver. I think about just simming until maybe Falk goes and then just see where that happens to be. Quarterback at number 1, which honestly didn't happen enough in this game. This was a weird game for quarterbacks getting drafted. Justin Elliott is next. Avion Adams is the first one taken, which is really interesting because he was the mid-1 talent. So the early first-round receivers are still there. Let's begin the talks with our next year's first-round pick, if it's going to be this far. So it's very difficult for me to make a stronger offer than next year's first and a second. DeAndre Allison has been taken. And some teams just value the picks completely differently. If we want to get to 5, it's suddenly a lot more reasonable. And it's so close to being possible without giving up next year's first. But I tried this year's second and next, and it still wasn't enough. This can work. Come on, man. Let me throw in a 7. And the deal is done. We have given the Rams our first round pick next year, our second round pick this year, to get up to 5, while acquiring their third round pick next season. So we were able to get it done. I think DeAndre Allison was my favorite receiver of the 3, but we had to get a difference maker, and this was the only way we could do it this year. We're going all in on Tommy Falk, another deep threat. Tommy, welcome to the Motor City. 78 overall in hidden development, 92 speed, great deep route running, and the other stuff, isn't so far behind. Like, you can totally turn him into a number 1 wide receiver. Really good with the ball in his hands as well. I like it. I think that's the caliber of receiver we had to go get. So now we have a 3 and 2 4s, 5, 6, 7. So we may have an opportunity to trade up in the second round, but we'll let this go for a while. And we still have a couple first-round talents that are on the board. There is Larry Newsome, the running back, who has late 1 talent. But I think that I'd like to perhaps look at corner Marcus Berry and finally get somebody a little younger there developing again. But trading up might be still pretty expensive at this stage. And Marcus Berry ends up going 2 picks later to Dallas. Larry Newsome, 2 picks after that to Cleveland. It's still expensive to move up 20 spots. We moved up 10 spots. It cost us a 4 and a 7. Didn't want this player to get taken. I want to go get safety Ronnie Berry. Somebody who could possibly take over for Taylor Rapp. He is a hybrid archetype, late 2 talent. Ronnie Berry, 68 overall, normal development, 90 speed, 64 zone, and 66 man. Not bad. Well, the best player for us to take here in the 4th round would have to be another deep threat at receiver. So let's go get the speedster D'Angelo Green. 66 overall, normal development for him. 93 speed, 70 deep route running, 77 release. Now, I might take him because he has the 69 short route running and just focus all slot with him. We'll trade out of our next pick to acquire a 4th rounder next season. And we'll take the final player on the board. Kicker, Archer Harrison. 67 overall. We didn't have a kicker. And I don't know who's available. So we did what had to be done for us to get an early first-round talent at wide receiver. It means we will not have a first-round pick for episode 4 of this rebuild. So hopefully big things can happen with new receiver Tommy Falk. We also go and get Ronnie Berry, who will be good depth. D'Angelo Green, same there. 4th receiver probably. Well, maybe 5th this year at the addition of Cortland Sutton. And then we'll see about the kicker, Archer Harrison, but he was the only player even on my board left. I just wanted to see the other receivers, although I don't think we really had a chance to move up to get either one. Avion Adams went first. 75 overall and hidden development, 91 speed, 80 release. Really fun ratings here, and he's 6'5", 228. So can turn him into a deep threat, big slot, whatever you want. And then I felt like DeAndre Allison was going to be the best, and I wanted the route running. And man, that 87 medium would be really, really nice. That's elite. It's 7 better than any other receiver in this class. And he had the best short route running as well. But Tommy Folk had the best deep route running. It's been hard to find a really good RB2 that can take on a bunch of carries. Rashard Cates is the best rated free agent running back right now. And the kicker we drafted may just be the best available for us at this stage anyway. I forgot about backup quarterback, but we'll have Jacoby Brissett return, with the benefit that he will actually earn an upgrade as soon as we sign him. We're also going to bring in an undrafted running back. Big shock there. No one saw that coming. Ricky Robertson from Southern Arkansas. And I still really like the ratings for Jerron Hitchens. He might end up still being my preferred backup running back. Well, couldn't sign him in the Titans franchise, and I can't sign him here either. We don't have a lot of cap space right now. I'm just looking for solid depth. So ultimately, this is going to be a very big season for wide receiver Tommy Folk. I'm trying to catch up with the route running and some of the slot stuff here. We have so many deep threats on this team, and it just seems like every receiver we come across has deep threat archetype. I just want to see some good short route running. And maybe we'll still see more development out of guys like Nathan Fitzgerald. There's a chance that, you know, what if he got like another breakout chance and a big bunch of XP? Like, there are still some good possibilities. So we went undefeated in preseason, which I think the 0-16 Lions also did. But Jacoby Brissett, 4 touchdowns. Irvin Jameson threw 1 as well. And Jerron Hitchens, 3.6 yards a carry. I think he'll be our second running back to start the year. Nathan Fitzgerald with a productive preseason, and Cortland Justice behind him. We also, of course, signed Cortland Sutton, and he's going to start off as either the 3rd or 4th receiver. I don't know yet. I still want to be developing Fitzgerald and not taking him or Cooks off the field a ton. Eli Robertson, a very busy preseason for him, it looks like. Had a sack and a half and an interception. And the rookie kicker, Archer Harrison, perfect in the preseason. So will this team be able to raise the bar? Do we finally have everything in place that this offense needs? I like that we have a chance to, have a tackle who's not just going to be around for a season. We have a brand new top 5 rookie receiver. There's a lot going for this team now, and I think maybe at the start of the year, it could start off a little slow, but by the end of the year, I want to see where Falk is. If he's more like an 82 overall and maybe getting, 70 to 80 yards a game, then he's got a chance at Rookie of the Year, a chance to make this a higher scoring offense and a more consistent one. Like, we've always had a ceiling because we have the quarterback, but it's the playmakers that are going to give you a lot more stability, I feel, in this game. I also feel really good about the defense overall. I like that Robertson's back. He's younger. We have a dominant front 4. There really aren't a bunch of holes on this team. We just got to go win. And that's what we do in the first game of the season, defeating the first team I began rebuilding in this franchise, Irvin Jameson versus Sean Day. Man, if we were doing a full series, that would have been incredible to watch. But 3 touchdowns for Jameson, 2 for Sean Day. Sean McMillan takes on his old team, 63 yards, not very efficient. Steve Raymond, not familiar with him. Not a very good day on the ground. And also, just having a good power back oftentimes, like Rashard Cates, they just manage to find touchdowns, and I'm just looking for touchdowns any way we can get them. Wow, very good receiving day for Steve Raymond. Kevon Steele, I drafted him for that team. He went for 73 yards. Casey Cook scores, and Hawkinson does twice. Tommy Falk in his debut, just 3 for 34. Hopefully saving something better for next week. Alfonso Lawrence, 3 sacks in week 1. That's a good start. And I think there are enough players that are young at various spots to where this should be a stronger team at the end of the year. And I think it could be significantly stronger. Unless we just start off playing so well. 2 weeks in, we've certainly shown that we can score points. 33-30 as we win in overtime. Both teams ended up scoring in overtime. Irvin Jameson 4 touchdowns. That makes it 7 already on the season. Sean McMillan. How often do we get a $140? That's pretty good for simulating. Really good. And Tommy Falk indeed. Better in week 2. 106 yards. Helping what has been a very high-flying offense the first 2 weeks of the year. Hawkinson scores again. I like what I see so far. We got 3 sacks defensively, a couple interceptions. Harrison missed an extra point. It was blocked. Do we blame him? Somebody's going to point out that we signed an Alabama kicker, and there might be a big missed field goal at some point that we'll have to talk about. And don't think I won't be interested in the receiver market again this next offseason. Although without a first-round pick, that probably won't be happening early in the draft. Hey, we're happy with a 3-0 start. The defense, though, has given up 20 points at least in all 3 of these games. We'd like to see 17 or 13 there in one of these soon, but the offense has seemed to be very productive to start off, and Tommy Falk has a 46-yarder. And typically what these mean in the simming is that when you have a breakaway play like that, it's usually a touchdown. So sometimes big play threats are useful just for that reason. Much like how they are in like regular games, but it's hard to find players at times who are capable of that 46-yarder unless you have like the right archetype and stuff. Like a 78 overall physical receiver will probably not do that quite as much. Frustration already. Tommy, you've played 3 games. Oh man, we just drafted the biggest ego in college football. Imagine voicing your frustrations 3 weeks into your NFL career. That's probably going to happen. Slot upgrade for Tommy Falk, who has just completed the speed running record for complaining to the coaching staff as a rookie. That's how fast he is. So we lose to Dallas 24-20, and we did not have a good day offensively. Only 239 yards. So what's Tommy Falk gonna have to say after this one? Well, he had a whole 2 catches for 35 yards. I'm really disappointed that you didn't get me more involved in this game, especially after our talk. I was open out there. Those DBs couldn't hang with me. What was the problem? He's already losing 20 morale. Yeah, I love it when the rookie receiver we drafted to take the offense to the next level is now having a negative impact on his ratings. Although morale didn't really have a strong effect in this game. New injury. It's Frank Ragnow, the starting center. As it's been in this series, we are fighting for first place with the Green Bay Packers. We just happen to play them right now. And that's certainly one way to show up. 20-6 over Green Bay. Irvin Jameson with a pair of touchdowns and interceptions. Seems like his turnovers could end up being higher this season. Casey Cook, 78 yards. Tommy Falk, 5 for 64. Hopefully he's done complaining for a week. We got a breakout chance, by the way, and this will be for wide receiver Casey Cooks. Wouldn't this be spectacular? We get to upgrade the quarterback, Irvin Jameson. We're going with that deep accuracy now. Maybe get some more big plays downfield. We're 5-1 now. We just beat Atlanta 28-24. Much better day for the offense, putting up over 400 yards. No scores or interceptions for Irvin Jameson, but Sean McMillan finds the end zone 3 times. going over 100 yards again. So he's had a couple nice breakout games for us. And at receiver, Casey Cooks falls a bit shy of his goal. We have another chance at a breakout. Ooh, Sean McMillan. Okay. Yeah, this one's popped up a few times already. Go get a 70-yard catch, and then we'll talk. McMillan is still only 28 years old. I felt like he was possibly a little bit older. But I think that he could still be with us for the entire duration of this franchise, thankfully. And that's why I signed him, it looks like, to that 5-year deal at the very start of things. But what players do we have to think about re-signing this year going into next? Kenny Clark's going to be a free agent at 34 years old. Possibly he would retire. Pat Pounds, X Factor, 27 years old. Oh my, that's a big contract. Marlon Humphrey, Frank Ragnow, a lot of players in their 30s. Tyrone Kelly, Jamison Dorsett. Carl Boone's going to be an interesting one. He's our slot corner this season. I'm not sure that Pat Pounds deal is going to work. I know in this game, like left outside linebackers end up getting like really high demands because the game just assumes they're edge rushers. So if I move him to right outside linebacker, that's going to drop his demand, I think, significantly. Yeah. Now, I'm not one to switch a player's position just to save, money on the contract, but this would be more appropriate instead of like top of the market off-ball linebacker money. So I'm probably going to leave him at right outside. And he is not an edge rusher. We still only have one loss on the season, defeating the Vikings this week. Jamison with 1 score, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. Sean McMillan, 62 yards, so we need 138 receiving. He didn't get it. That's all right. Another win for us. We look like a much stronger team right now. A lot more consistent, higher scoring. I think this is going about as well as you could have hoped. Coach, our rushing attack was great last week, and I think Jerron Hitchens was a big reason why. Ooh, it's a breakout chance for the backup running back, Jerron Hitchens. I saw he had a few catches. Well, he's going to be starting. He'll have a chance against Chicago. So Sean McMillan's going to miss 3 weeks, but that lines up with a matchup against the 1-win Bears and then a bye week. So he's going to miss one important game against Green Bay. Meanwhile, we can get Tommy Folk up to not quite 80 apparently. But I'm focused on that short route running, and now it's at a 73 or 76. Also, he's a superstar receiver. So we got a really good development for him as well. Things are going pretty well, I'd say, in his rookie season. 55 yards a game, only 1 touchdown. Probably not on pace for a rookie of the year. And Chicago beats us by 1. The Bears. 1-1 against us on the season now. So we had Irvin Jamison not throw a touchdown or interception in this game, as Phil Zimmerman had 2 of each. We continue to give up a fair amount of offensive production. Jerron Hitchens went for 55 rushing and a touchdown. So can we get a receiving score? No, we can't. Can we get 45 receiving yards? He only had 31, so a little bit short. That was a really good opportunity for him. Freddie Lyons, wow. The revenge game. I didn't count on this one. We'll do our usual rest and relaxation for the bye week, but we also have a big decision to make, and I think that's going to be early return for Sean McMillan. So if we can do it now, I want to do it because it's the bye week. Well, actually, that speed drops significantly. I don't know what his overall would be. You know what? Let's just have Hitchens play. I know it said he should return week 12, but he really should be back for the Viking game. That shouldn't be an issue. Lions win against Green Bay, and this almost gives us the division already. Now that we have this tiebreaker out of the way. The Packers have scored a total of 9 points against us in 2 games, and they had 138 yards of offense. Just a pathetic performance from Green Bay. 1 interception for Josh Gilbert, 10 of 23 passing. Jerron Hitchens had 63 yards. Cates had 36. We allowed 15 yards on 15 carries to Jalen Underwood. Casey Cooks, 8 catches for him, 55 yards. Folk, 31 yards. Doesn't seem we have like enough production going to any receiver for like a major breakout this year. 23 tackles for Miles Jack. That's a whole lot of tackles. 4 for a loss for Alfonso Lawrence. Oh, and Kenny Clark had an interception, of course. We're the only team above 500 in the North now, so as long as we can go and get a few more wins, we should have this taken care of in no time. Division win over Minnesota that gives us 8 victories on the season. We do so with very little yardage, only 268 yards. Another low yardage output for Irvin Jameson for whatever reason. Sean McMillan is back and he finds the end zone in his return, while Cortland Sutton actually leads us in receiving this week. Pass rush has definitely been productive all season long. We're getting everything out of this front 4. And then some. Tyrone Kelly, not even a regular pass rusher. Tommy Folk, still 79 overall after this upgrade, as 3 more go into short route running, sitting at 79. We just beat a 7-3 Bills team, 29-16. A statement maker for Detroit. 3 touchdowns for Irvin Jameson, his first one of those in quite some time. Sean McMillan, 69 yards. And Hawkinson found the end zone along with Casey Cooks. And looks like Josh Purvis, of course. 1 more win in our last 5 games, and we're going to take care of this division. Oh, and Tremont Spence is set to miss a couple of weeks, but we can go play a backup there, and I think we'll be fine. The Lions are 10-2. We might be the number 1 seed this year. 4 touchdowns for Irvin Jameson. McMillan, 52 and a score. This time McMillan did it with his receiving skills. 75 yards and a touchdown there. And then Sutton found the end zone as well. Would love some more scores for Tommy Folk, but we're getting yardage. Jay Hanna, 2 sacks. Lawrence gets 1. Interceptions for Pounds and Bryson. Feels good to be division champs already with 4 games to go. Let's check out the standings overall. Well, you got Seattle there. They've clinched as well. Number 1 seed has some competition. They kind of scare me. They've scored like 50-plus points more than us and have allowed even less points. So Seattle could be the team to beat this year. The defense is starting to have some really signature games as well, allowing only 7 now to New England, 200 yards of offense. Jameson with 1 touchdown, another interception, another 4 sacks. Defense keeps improving, it seems. I feel good about this team right now as long as we can stay healthy. We trip up here against Arizona, and it seems that this is our one stinker to get out of the way late. It's our wake-up call game. We had 5 straight wins, locked up this division a while ago. Kane Britt with a massive day against us. Buck 39, 2 scores, a 73-yarder is in there. So you can throw that one out. That's just a bad game. Tommy Folk up to an 80 overall. 3 awareness, an ability slot, 2 catching. Here are the ratings at this stage. Maybe some physical upgrades will help out that release a little bit. A tie. 27-27. Well, we put up a lot of yardage in this game, but couldn't win it. One thing I was hopeful for is that we did beat Seattle already this season, so we owned the tiebreaker. But unless they tied a game, that's not going to matter. And now it's going to just come down to number of wins. And we have just 1 week left on the schedule. Seattle is the number 1 seed in the NFC. However, competition now for the 2 seed. So if we win, we get the first round bye. This is back with the 6 playoff teams in each conference, and the top 2 seeds get a bye. So we are absolutely playing our starters to try and stay ahead of Washington. How about one more upgrade this year for Irvin Jameson, who has led this team to another playoff season. I can't wait to see if we can top last year and raise the bar. Well, let's sim to Wild Card Weekend and see if we have a game. Week 17, and the Lions will have a wild card game. We win the division at 11-4-1, but we must be the 3 seed. We lost our finale. So we finished the year 0-2-1. Not exactly a lot of momentum here with us. The Jets got us. Sam Darnold got us. 3 touchdowns, 336. Was really hoping to get that first round bye this year. But it's still a great season, as long as we have the playoff success to match. So how do we do this year? The number 6 offense, along with the number 12 defense. Doesn't surprise me. They had a mix of really good games and really poor games. 11th in points scored, 8th in points allowed. Well, it's not that we had a lot of poor games. It's that they were, I think, underperforming, but at an average level for much of the year. In the beginning, primarily. Irvin Jameson, 27 touchdowns, matching a career high, and 7 interceptions. So after the first few weeks, he seemed to clean things up pretty well. Sean McMillan, 10 touchdowns, 1,000 yards for him. He's been really steady for us. Very happy with McMillan's play in these 3 years. Now at wide receiver, Tommy Folk did lead us in receptions. No, he did not. He led in yards. Only 2 touchdowns, 67 catches. A good rookie year. Not a great one, but he got a lot of development. Up to an 80. About to get an upgrade again. Casey Cook, 7 touchdowns, 800 yards. Cortland Sutton was productive. Hawkinson, 66 receptions, 666 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And then it looks like Nathan Fitzgerald didn't even really play this year. This offense doesn't play a 4th receiver, like, at all. If no one gets hurt, you only play 3. And on defense, Eli Robertson, very productive. Not hard for a season like this to boost your development even further. Double-digit sacks for Jeffrey Durr and Alfonso Lawrence. 6.5 for Jay Hanna. 3 interceptions for Solomon Bryson, a pair for a few more players. And our rookie kicker, Archer Harrison, 20 of 27. That could have been better. He had 4 kicks blocked this year. Lamar Jackson is the MVP again. Jay Gruden is coach of the year for the Seahawks, who have been very good. Rashawn Gaffney is offensive player of the year. Darius Leonard on defense. Blake Salisbury, quarterback of the Rams, is rookie of the year. Tommy Falk finished in 3rd place. Defensive rookie of the year is John Butler of the Rams. Alfonso Lawrence, best D lineman, though. Lamar had 4,400 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Darrell Beck led the league in touchdown passes as a 72, and that's with a morale boost. This guy came out of literal nowhere. Darrell Beck, what's your story? It's like one of his first chances to start. And that's what he does? 3-time player of the week, a Pro Bowler. Lane Bryant still throwing a lot of interceptions. And Sean Day threw his fair share this season as well. On the ground, CMC is your leading rusher. These totals are not impressive. Receiving, Hunter Renfrow. Number 1 in yards. Touchdowns, Ty Barrett of the Atlanta Falcons. Steven Sims developed really well in this franchise, by the way. He's an X factor. So clearly he did something big at some point. Yeah, 1,200 yards in 2022, 15 touchdowns. So that would have been in the initial start. I simmed to the future to create a weird league. And Steven Sims spent that time becoming an elite receiver. And then putting up a really good resume. He has over 10,000 receiving yards now in his career and 99 touchdowns. How awesome is that? I'm checking on the other receivers who I liked early in the draft, and DeAndre Allison, didn't play. Oh, he tore his MCL. That's why. He wasn't just on the bench. He got hurt early in the season, and he lost his entire rookie year. Was he supposed to be an injury-prone player by chance, or is that just a really freak injury? You don't see those happen often in Madden. Yeah, 90 injury. It's just a really unlucky injury for him. Avion Adams had 598 yards and 6 touchdowns. He ended up having Superstar. So really, there wasn't a huge gap between him and the early first-round receivers at all. But why don't we get on to our postseason games? Hopefully multiple games. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be up first. I don't want awareness. I'm doing an accuracy upgrade, not an awareness upgrade. There we go. That's more like it. Hopefully this year we can generate more offense in the playoffs. That's what ended our run a year ago. And I think this team is much more capable. We didn't have many games where we scored under 20 points, but we did have 3 of those 4 games in the late season stages. So, the momentum side of things, we had bad momentum going into the playoffs last year, and bad momentum again right now. 3rd straight playoff season for the Detroit Lions. But now the expectations are more than just making it to the postseason. We're 1-2 in our playoff games so far. Let's see how this one goes. We get the ball first and immediately drop a pass, Casey Cooks. And we do avoid the 3-and-out, thankfully, but then throw an immediate interception to Tampa. They get it in plus territory. And a 3rd down conversion to Parrish Tucker will put them into field goal range. Thank you, Jay Hanna. And they get a field goal. That's a big conversion for the Bucs on a 3rd and 13. They get 20. Trying to get more points. Godwin for 15 yards. One of the most productive receivers right now, active in the franchise. And almost converted there on 3rd and 15. Field goal number 2. The offense has really started off slowly here. No points on their first 3 drives, and we're giving Tampa short field after short field. And they're back in the red zone. 3rd and 2, they got it. Goal to go, losing 3. What an effort by this defense. It's 9-0. Incomplete on 1st down. There's a gain of 8. And a 1st down. Let's get away from our own end zone, and we're finally across midfield for the first time. Tommy Falk has his first playoff catch. It's a penalty on Spence. Incomplete on 3rd and long. Tampa's moving the ball again. Oh no, 22, Melvin Chambers. Tampa inside the 10. Defense has forced 3 field goals, and this time they finally break. It's 16-0 in Wild Card Weekend. 25 to Cortland Sutton. Can you get me first half points? Stop dropping the ball. 45 seconds. What happened? 1st and goal. Touchdown! I have no clue what just happened. But Sean McMillan has a touchdown, and we do get on the board. I'm going to have to check the play log there. That's a weird one. Something's missing in here that got us from midfield to the 4-yard line. Filling in that gap would be nice, but I don't know what happened. How about the Bucs going in the wrong direction to begin the second half as the Lions take over down 9? A couple 1st downs to start the drive, but drops keep showing up out of nowhere. Sacked on 3rd and 10. Lost some of our momentum there. But the defense is really stepping up for us. Now we have them pinned at their 1. A penalty? Come on, that's got to be a safety. Unless it was false start. You gotta get the stop, man. Come on. You had him. This can be a make or break drive right here. It's already a 2-score game. Heading into the fourth quarter. They end up, using up a lot of clock. Still a 9-point contest. Come on, Jamison. 3rd and 9 conversion to Cortland Sutton. Sacked on 2nd down. Penalty on Perry Sparks. We'll take the yards any way we can get them. McMillan for 21. Inside the 30. Stalling. Missed the field goal. No! Archer Harrison had a chance to make it a 1-score game. 15-yard pass. Tampa moving the ball. We can handle a field goal. Not much more. And just extending the drive to allow more time to run. This is awful. Touchdown. We're down 3 scores. This wasn't supposed to happen again. The Lions have it inside the 10. Stop making this look so hard. Touchdown, McMillan. Bucks get the onside kick. And it's a quick 3-and-out. Can we score just as fast? Wait, they threw it for 14? I thought we had gotten the stop. And we've been knocked out in the first round again. Tampa wins 27-14. Another disappointing performance in the playoffs for the Detroit Lions. That's 2 years in a row. We've been embarrassed in our first game. 1-3 now in the playoffs. Only 260 yards of offense, 5 of 14 on 3rd down. Jamison under 50% completion. Man, what do we need to do? How many drops did we have? 4 drops. Unbelievable. Playoff success has been hard to come by in both of these rebuilds. We've had 4 chances, and we've yet to make it to a championship game, I believe. Certainly haven't done it here with Detroit. I do feel good about this being a relatively young offense and still being able to get better. Like, I'm not sure we can add more players to change things unless free agency throws us an opportunity. But at the very least, Jamison continues to develop. McMillan shouldn't be regressing. Folk should be getting better. I don't know. Hawkinson's going to be the one that is, possibly retiring, and then replacing him becomes a mess. But another stinker for the offense in the playoffs. How do we avoid it? What are we missing? I think the defense would have been fine if we didn't put immense pressure on them. They were fine until things just fell apart. Wow, that's how it ends, though, in part 3. We got 2 seasons left here with Detroit. I feel good about having 2 more shots at the postseason. But to take this further, to try and set a new high score, essentially, of at least making it to a championship game, maybe a Super Bowl. I love to do a Super Bowl episode in here, but we got to make it there first. So leave your thoughts down below in the comment section on what you think this team needs. But here is a look at our career stats as we wrap up our 3rd year in the rebuild. Having a really good time constructing this team and watching the seasons unfold. Got some interesting storylines out of it. But hopefully we can still write a happy chapter before this is said and done. We're only doing 5 seasons. After that, moving on. Please leave a like if you're enjoying the content and subscribe to the channel. And I'll come back soon with part 4 with Detroit and see if 4th time's a charm for this Lions team. Have a great day, everybody.